It's one way for him.
Exactly. And he's had some success with this deck in the Open Series. Very good results. Consistent finisher. No surprise to see him at 11-2.
He's going to start things off with the Aether Vial. We'll see if it does resolve, as Walker does have a Force of Will in his hand. I think he's just considering if he wants to Force of Will it or not. And he will. So Force of Will take care of the Vial. Certainly important to keep that off the table. One of, if not the best card in Death and Taxes.
On top of that, once Aether Vial's in play, your counterspell's not worth very much.
Yes.
You're looking at 4 Swords of Plowshares, 4 Aether Vials, Umezawa Shite, Sword of Fire and Ice, and Batterskull as the spells, and the rest are creatures. So Aether Vial really shuts down opposing counterspells.
Gitaxian Probe will target Derczo. You've got Swords of Plowshares, Thalia, Mirran Crusader, Flicker Wisp, and a copy of Wasteland in his hand.
And this is the mixture of what this deck is trying to do. A mixture of mana denial, good answers, some quality threats, all on display here in Michael's hand.
You can see just how powerful that Vial would have been had it resolved.
Yeah, he goes up 2, goes up to 3, and there's a lot of shenanigans that can occur with Mirran Crusader and Flicker Wisp at the top of that.
There's a Ponder off of Volcanic Island from Walker. So he'll take a look at the top 3 cards. We'll see if he wants to keep them or not.
Standard Premier IQ players. Standard Premier IQ players, your pairings are now up at pairings.starcitygames.com and are being posted on
He will shuffle, does not like what he sees.
Please check the pink paper, standard players.
But typically, Delver-style matchups, very solid for Death and Taxes. You have Swords of Plowshares, which is a great answer. You have Stoneforge Mystic, which wins the game on its own if it goes unchecked. And a lot of your utility creatures are very disruptive against them, especially Thalia, against a deck that's packing a bunch of cheap cantrips. Wasteland, Rashad and Port, those are quality cards. So the elements of Death and Taxes that are disruptive, they all work against Delver.
See what Derczo's second land is going to be. We know he's got a Wasteland in his hand. Not sure what he drew for the turn. He'll play a Wasteland, just pass the turn back. No interest in trying to deploy the Thalia this turn. Walker going to draw.
Showing a lot of respect for Daze.
That's for sure. It'll be a Brainstorm from Walker. Out of resolve, so 3 cards coming. Of course, 2 will go back. Gitaxian Probe is 1. Polluted Delta is 2. And looks like a Ponder is number 3.
Noah's another player whose name you might not necessarily recognize, but someone who had a very good showing, I believe, in Providence recently.
Yeah, he made the top 8 of Providence a couple weeks ago.
I believe with Jeskai Aggro, if I'm not mistaken.
One of the few has been able to get it done with Mantis Rider recently. Pretty lengthy brainstorm here for him, but he's found a winning combination as he places 2 cards back. And now he has a Gitaxian Probe he will cast. So we'll get an idea of what Derczo did draw. It was a Plains.
Michael has to be showing a lot of respect for Daze here because based on Noah's follow-up here, if that Thalia stuck, his turn would have been much, much slockier than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, life would have been pretty difficult. And if he did have a Daze, it would have set him back in land drop too. That's why I'm surprised not to see Derczo cast the Thalia last turn.
And he's got a lot of 3-mana spells in his hand anyway. So
Sure.
the Daze is likely to be good, no matter what.
There's an Underground Sea. And now Deathrite Shaman. Pass the turn back. Here's Swords of Plowshares. Take care of that. Now Derczo will untap and draw.
So the upside of what Derczo has done here is that he gets to Thalia and Wasteland this turn. So there's no chance of Thalia getting dazed, and now Noah's down to 1 mana facing Thalia with a deck full of cheap spells.
And you saw him take care of the Volcanic Island as opposed to the Underground Sea. There's the 5/5 Angler. Ugh, that thing is gigantic. And part of the reason he took care of the Volcanic Island was because of Lightning Bolt. But now the Angler is in the house, and that's pretty big. See if Derczo was able to find a land here to play the Mirran Crusader.
I believe he picked up a land the previous turn, as you see the zombie fish
Yes.
out there angling
In Gurmag. Yeah. Yeah. I beat you to it there. Where exactly is Gurmag? Are you familiar?
No.
Probably not a very nice place. Here's a Flicker Wisp. Gonna wisp that away. Get in here for 2 points of damage.
Standard Premier IQ players.
Don't worry, that angler will be coming back for more.
You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
Pass the turn back. Walker will draw.
I don't know if Gurmag is a place where the angler resides or if it is an adjective that is used to describe an angler.
I see. I suppose that's what Twitter is for. They will let you know. Tweet directly at Basic Mountain about that. Do not use the SCG Live or SCGWOR.
I'm just
hashtag.
really interested in what you think about this.
Tweet directly at Patrick, please, about that.
Yeah.
Volcanic Island here off the polluted Delta.
Players in modern PIQ. The pairings are posted online and
What exactly is an angler?
Please check your pairings.
Type of fish, I guess, or a type of zombie.
Could be one or the other. Here's a 2-mana ponder. Looks like there's a lightning bolt within those cards.
But with Noah taking so much damage off the Gitaxian probes, I really like Michael just trying to turn this into a damage race. Yes, Noah has the largest thing on the table, but Michael has now presented a 3-power flyer. It's a 4-turn clock here. Noah's deck seems like the kind of deck where he's going to have to take more damage off of Phyrexian mana spells or fetch lands to sort of operate here. He's slowed down quite a bit by the Thalia. And Noah might not even be in a position to attack with a 5/5 because he can't afford the 2 damage on the way back from Thalia.
Take a draw. Ponder done resolving. Angler coming in. There's Windswept Teeth and a passing of the turn. We're going to head back Derczo's way. Derczo will draw. Here come the beatdowns for 5. See if he wants to go for Mirran Crusader here. He's been trying to play around Daze to the best of his ability, but at some point you got to give that up.
Yeah, you can't take it with you.
If this card resolves, it's very, very hard, I think, for Walker to win.
Yeah.
At the very least, it demands an answer.
And an answer probably takes Noah's entire turn because of the Thalia.
Crusader looks to be in. It's unclear if it's resolved at this point. Walker with 3 cards in his hand.
Modern players who are not getting this.
Phase also, if that's the answer here, forces Noah to crack the fetch land. That's a point of damage, and he loses access to a shuffle somewhere down the line.
Raise your hand and keep
There's a lot of upside.
Sends a land drop back. And again, you can't take it with you. You can end the game with it in play or in the graveyard or in your hand, your choice. I prefer the first 2 zones to the third.
Me too. We're being informed that Gurmag is a swamp in Tarkir, Patrick.
Okay. Yeah. I also just got a message that all of my data has just been used. So. Thank you, community.
Daze is taking care of the Mirran Crusader. Here comes Big Angler.
That's an email confirming that all of my data has been used.
And now true name Nemesis has arrived.
You may begin.
But Flicker Wisp is in the sky. Derczo will draw. He has a batter skull in his hand, but we're far away from that.
Still a 2-turn clock on Noah's side of the table versus a 2-turn clock on Michael's side, with Michael having the initiative.
Can't stop, won't stop. Got to get in the air. There's Rashadenport. Pass the turn back. We're probably going to have a port on upkeep. He'll go after the black source. Take a draw. Thalia going to try to gum things up here.
But if Noah has Lightning Bolt, this is a really good spot.
If Noah has Lightning Bolt, there's nothing that Michael can do. He's either going to Lightning Bolt the Flicker Wisp, or if Michael takes all the damage, he will get Lightning Bolted.
Exactly.
At this point, if I'm Michael, there's just really no beating it. Now, this is a little bit risky because now Noah can actually like ponder into a lightning bolt or brainstorm into a lightning bolt. So I'm not a huge fan of that particular block.
Yeah, if you're dead to red removal, you're better served just taking the hit anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's cantrips and redraws and so forth.
Attack for 3. You're dead. Michael Derczo is going to win game number 1 here over Noah Walker. Death and Taxes up the game over Grixis Delver. That means we get to take a look at the sideboards here. And for Walker, he's got 2 Pyroblast, 2 Cabal Therapy, 2 Graph Trigger's Cage, and a bunch of one-ofs in Pithing Needle, Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, Vendilion Click, Submerge, Dismember, Ancient Grudge, and 2 doozies in Fork Bolt and Dark Blast.
Ooh, Dark Blast is a nice one. A little bit of a throwback. Sometimes we see it in dredge sideboards. Noah's deck is doing a lot of delving, so it's a very nice one-up to have. And recurring -1/-1 is awesome in some matchups. Elves at the top of the list. Very nice against Death and Taxes as well. And the additional removal spells here, Fork Bolt, Dismember. I think the Vendilion Click is pretty solid here. And I do like the 1 copy of Pithy Needle. Answers to Equipment, Stoneforge Mystic, Aether Vial, variety of things.
What do we see on the other side here for Derczo?
A Pithy Needle, a Ratchet Bomb, a Sun Lance, a Disenchant, 2 copies of Rest in Peace, a Spirit of the Labyrinth, 2 copies of Aethersworn Canonist, 2 Containment Priest, 2 Council's Judgment, 2 copies of Cataclysm. I think the 2 copies of Council's Judgment, that definitely comes in here and stands for Tuning Nemesis and other large threats that Noah's bringing to the table. I think Spirit of the Labyrinth is excellent in this matchup as Noah has just a load of cantrips. I think that Rest in Peace is a little too narrow. I don't like bringing it in against decks that are just trying to delve, though possibly Michael brings it in.
This special sideboard, get ready for game number 2. We will talk about the Origins Game Fair. 5 days of gaming. There's a lot to be done in terms of Magic.
Yeah, it's going to be a full 5 days, June 3rd through 7th in Columbus, Ohio. If you're not qualified for the Invitational, don't worry. There are going to be a variety of last chance qualifiers for that Invitational. On top of that, there'll be a super game night. The Invitational, of course, the 2-day $20,000 Open Series event, 2 IQs, and much more in terms of tournaments. Over $80,000 in cash prizes given out over the course of the weekend. And since we're at the Origins Game Fair, if you want to do things other than Magic, like board games, tabletop games, or a variety of other games, well, you can scratch that itch over there as well.
Of course, if you do win the Invitational, like Jacob Wilson did during season number 1, you get your likeness on a card in addition to $10,000 and invite to the Players' Championship. A couple different ways to get this token as well. All 20K Open Series competitors, all 535 that did play here in Worcester got one. All 5K Premier IQ players. And we got a lot of people playing in our Premier IQs today. Over 270 for Modern, about 170 for Standard. They got one of these bad boys. And all orders from StarCityGames.com. If you can't make it to an Open, $5 or more, you'll get a Jacob Wilson Monastery Mentor Monk token. So congratulations again to Jacob. We saw him a little earlier this weekend in round number 1. Didn't have the weekend he was looking for with Teamer Delver, but he did win that season 1 Invitational, so we'll see him later this year at the Players' Championship.
Keep in mind, though, these tokens are available only for a limited time. After Columbus, there's going to be a new token that is going to be given out the same way. So if you want to get your Jacob Wilson token, either enter one of our large events or place an order from Star City Games. And since we're running out of large events in Season 2, I suggest simply going to the website, placing an order of $5 or more.
We have been informed that the Gurmag Swamps form a belt of treacherous swampland that encircles part of the Sultai domain.
Yeah, I got that and much more from the dozens of tweets I just received. So thank you, everyone, and especially you, Cedric.
That's just how we know people are watching. That's all. So that's good to know. People got their Twitters ready. Thanks, guys. I hope you get an extra phone bill.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I actually, it's confirmed. I got the message from Verizon just now.
A little ding on the data.
Uh-huh.
And in case you were wondering, I will not be take care of that.
No, I know.
That's on you. I'll take care of dinner tonight or something as a result.
Yeah, we can work something out.
Probably not. But you can imagine if I did,
right,
how great it would be. And you know where dinner's going to be tonight?
I do.
Dead Ave.
Uno's.
Dead Average Uno's. Shout out to Uno's for the mediocre steak last night for dinner.
Yeah. Just keep doing your thing.
Hey, they're in business every time we come.
Right.
So they must be doing something right. Maybe not. It's unclear.
Location's good. It's close. Close to the tournament center, I guess. Attached to the hotel. Location's worth a lot.
Restaurants, it typically is about location. That's very, very important.
Open late-ish.
Delivers to the room.
Moderately-ish priced food. True. Full-ish bar. Just lot going on.
Yeah.
Just not any of it particularly well executed, but a lot going on.
There's something to be said about being completely mediocre at everything.
Right.
At 2 p.m. today. That is 10 minutes from now.
Both these players with a win might be able to draw in the top 8 next round. So,
Oh, it should be good.
yeah,
for
this
sure.
should be good. So this is an interesting one. Death and Taxes, 11-2 here. Again, 6 copies of this deck into day number 2 with 121 players in day 2. So not a bad representation. Grixis Delver, not as much representation here.
So 5% of the day 2 field, tied with 2 other decks, Sultai Delver and Infect, for the 5th most represented deck in the room.
We've seen we haven't seen any Infect on camera actually. And Tom Ross did not have a good weekend at all. So
Nope.
he lost in this tournament very quickly. But I'm sure we'll see more of Tom.
Yeah. I think we will.
Probably.
Only a matter of time.
Probably at an invitational or 2, if you catch my drift. Both players are going to take a look at opening hands. No, Walker will be on the play. He does not like his opening hand. He mulligans very, very quickly. We'll see if Derczo can find a better hand. Looks like he's happy. See if he can kick things off with an Aether Vial or a Mother of Runes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking for Zach Klein.
One of Legacy's more honest decks. Death and Taxes.
Yep, I mean, it has elements of the Teamer Delver, deny all your lands, Wasteland, port you with Thalia, et cetera, et cetera. But it is a pile of, you know, Uno's level creatures.
Is that our new descriptor?
They all these creatures, I would say, except Stoneforge Mystic, they regularly dine at Uno's.
Nice.
Mother of Runes, I guess, is a pretty powerful card.
But she eats fine. She goes to fine dining restaurants.
Flicker Wisp, I would say, Mangara, Condora, they have their own reserve booth. 4 Phyrexian Revokers.
Typically dining at the Unos. Here's a flooded
Mangara,
strand
Rondor.
combo with Caracas.
Yep.
We haven't seen that one for a while.
2 Mirran Crusaders.
That card's great.
Against some decks, sure.
It's great against that card.
Yep.
Deathrite Shaman, take that.
Definitely, if you're expecting we'll have Sultai. Solid card.
If you know Gerard's going to be at your tournament.
Yep. He's not beating that thing.
Can't recoil it. Tell you that much. It's an Aether Vial. See if it resolves this go around. It looks like it will. So Derczo puts the die on top of the deck to get ready, and we'll see what Derczo does have in his hand. Cataxian Probe will target Michael. You see a Mirran Crusader, a Thalia, a Wasteland, a Sarah Avenger, among other options in hand.
Uno's table for 4.
It's an honest deck.
Yeah, no,
It's just an honest deck with honest creatures trying to play some honest magic.
sort of. It is a consequence of the nature of the format that a lot of just the mana denial elements, and that's what you need to do to be containing other decks.
There's a young Pyromancer. Deathrite Shaman's going to add some mana. There's another Deathrite Shaman. Pass that turn back.
Young Pyromancer is potentially a potent threat in this matchup. It doesn't line up well against equipment if Michael's able to get any of it into play, but Death and Tax is very good at gumming up the ground with very good blockers, and going wide can be a strategy.
There's Thalia. That's going to result. Walk with no lands in the graveyard at this point, and Derczo's never going to provide those, given he has no fetch lands in his deck. So that's the trick. Make the Deathrite Shaman's as bad as you can. Here's a Lightning Bolt to go after Thalia. That'll bring an Elemental token along with it.
A problem for Noah in the matchup is, you know, his creatures have a lot of utility, though right now Deathrite Shaman's not doing a whole lot, and Young Pyromancer is just constricted by Noah's total resources. But Michael's creatures are so good at just blocking. Like, the numbers on them are so good that it's pretty easy for Michael to lock up the ground.
Well, there's Mother of Runes to jump in.
Yeah, Michael just wants to shut down the young Pyromancer shenanigans because if he prevents Noah from going wide, then just his quality creatures and his equipment can take over the game.
There's a Delver's Secrets, too. That's a newer Mother of Runes artwork.
Yep.
I'm used to Urza's Legacy mod.
Yeah. I was looking over the deck list for Elite Vanguard or some such. Couldn't find it, so it just has to be a Mother of Runes.
You know who drew that?
Therese Nielsen.
Therese Nielsen drew that Mother of Runes. Guess where she's going to be?
Grand Prix Charlotte.
Nailed it. We'll see you guys there. Vial's up to 2. That's just good marketing.
Yeah. It all just weaves together. Like a wicker basket of branding.
Don't know what that means.
Doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Here's another Therese Nielsen Mother of Runes. You know where she's going to be?
Grand Prix Charlotte.
Correct. Delver's flipping. Forked Bolt on top is going to be tough. It's going to make things pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Really good reveal by Noah.
I think Michael was stopping Noah there momentarily, thinking maybe he should wasteland the Volcanic, but with Deathrite Shaman in play, there's no way for Michael to come off a red.
Correct. Here comes Insectile Aberration. You got a Vial activation. There's a Sarah Avenger. Block.
I like Michael's strategy here. Play as much defense as possible. Noah's running out of stuff. Yes, the 2 Deathrite Shamans are somewhat threatening, but I don't think Michael wants to get in a damage race. He's got 3 cards left in his hand. His creatures are all very good against Noah's creatures, so just slow things down. Trade your Mother Runes for Young Pyromancer. Trade your Sarah Venture for Delver of Secrets. It doesn't look like good trades, but just give yourself time to get your superior cards.
Yeah, a card like Mirran Crusader really good here, so.
Sorry, contextually superior cards. Should clarify.
It's okay. It's clarification is key. There's land number 3. It's going to be a Plains in a moment. There it is. Thalia's here. Wasteland there. I think in that situation, I actually prefer cutting off a black source of mana instead of a red one to slow down Deathrite Shaman some.
I could see that. I'm not even sure I like using the Wasteland at all because Noah's got more than enough mana to operate with. And Michael does have some randomly expensive stuff in his deck. He could draw equipment, for example. And at this point, I think Michael's lands are more valuable to him than Noah's lands are to Noah.
Walker draws a card. I'll just pass the turn back. Time to Vial. There's Mirran Crusader. Gonna remove a land, it looks like, for a red spell. Ancient Grudge. Okay. Not bad draw. Makes things a little more difficult for Derczo since he's bottlenecked on mana.
But Derczo's got the superior board, and you can see why Death and Taxes is good against these decks. So much of the Delver strategy is put some clocks into play and pressure you. They're not really great at brawling against other creatures. They're good at suppressing combo decks because you have, good counter spells and so forth. Those cards aren't very good against Death and Taxes, and if you want to go pound for pound with creatures, as far as legacy decks are concerned, no one really does it better than Death and Taxes.
Oh, there's another Mirran Crusader. Pass the turn back. That's a really hard card from the Walker's deck to beat.
Yeah. Protection from black makes it really hard for Noah to block. He's only got so many bolts. Their attacks doing multiple things.
Walker going to sacrifice a Flooded Strand. That's Tropical Island. So this means that Deathrite Shaman can start to gain a little bit of life. So a small splash in the Grixis deck for a Tropical Island to be able to gain life and flash back Ancient Grudge. Derczo will draw a card. These Crusaders are coming to the red zone, so is Thalia. Protection from black and green, pretty good in Legacy. There'll be a double block here in the Thalia. It appears. But these Crusaders hit hard, so gotta worry about that too.
Yeah, it's a question of what Noah wants to double block with. if he double walks with the 2 Death Ray Shamans, it gives Michael the option of getting rid of Death Ray Shaman. But it's possible that the Elemental token is actually the most valuable thing on Noah's side of the table because it's the one thing that allows him to chump block a Mirran Crusader right now. So I think if Noah is going to block, the only logical block is to double block with the Death Ray Shamans, because why give Michael the option of killing the Elemental if he happens to value that more highly than a Death Ray Shaman?
We'll get some Death Ray Shaman activations here in just a moment from Mr. Walker. He's in a world of trouble here. I'm not sure what his best draw in this situation is. You know, a card like Gurmag Angler would typically hold the fort, but it's black.
Yeah, and if his Death Ray Shamans here are getting swallowed up in combat, it means a lot of his red spells, which are his outs to Mirran Crusader, are no longer viable because he doesn't have red mana.
And there's another Thalia, so
That also justifies the attack.
that's that. Gain 2 life. Walker will draw. It's going to take a heck of a sequence of draws to get back in this. There's a Brainstorm at 2 mana, mind you. Delver of Secrets among the cards there for Noah.
I just don't think Noah can get out from under this.
Not with the restrictions of Thalia and in combination with Mirran Crusader's protection and the lack of red mana. I mean, it would take some obscure combination of cards for Walker to get through this, and given that he is kind of Brainstorm locked now too, because he has to cast a Brainstorm with no cards in hand, it would take a lot to win this game. And I don't think that's going to happen. 2 cards are going to go back from the Brainstorm. And he will extend the hand, and he knows he can't get out of it. Michael Derczo is going to win this game and match here over Noah Walker, 2-0. Death and Taxes, ladies and gentlemen, moves on to 12-2.
Legacy Challenge
I'm telling you, Michael's no stranger with this deck. He's been playing it now for years.
I've seen him before.
I don't know the last Legacy event where he didn't play this deck. Doesn't always have awesome performances, but he's been very steady, very consistent.